Hello, hello, hello. Are you there? Welcome to Heart and Mind. I am Dr. Dina McMillan, and we are at episode 58, where we are looking at the circles of intimacy revisited. Oh, thank you so much for being here. You should know. I please ask your friends to join us. Please ask. Here's something else you can do. This is how I've actually gained clients over the years. People who've had friends or relatives that are constantly yapping about the same problems over and over, talking about their issues, never doing anything about it. They've often sent them to me. Well, here's your opportunity. So, anybody that you know who is having some of the issues that we talk about here that could, for instance, use some of the disclosures about how we are influenced and persuaded and manipulated, or like the circles of intimacy we're talking about today, please have them join live every Tuesday. We're live on Rumble, on X, on Daily Clout, Facebook, and Getter. Or if you're not watching this live, you can actually watch the recorded versions. I usually put the recorded versions on my X feed, which is at Dr. Dina 1. Or you can watch it on Rumble, which has every episode, or Daily Clout, every episode. Or you can go even on YouTube and watch the episodes. Lots of interesting information here that you will not find anywhere else, I promise, all of which is designed to make your life better. Why do I say the information I offer is different? It's because I'm a social psychologist. And unless you've watched this show before or you have an unusual education, you probably don't know what that means. Social psychology isn't like clinical psychology. We don't have people come in and just lie on the couch. We look at things a little differently. We study power dynamics. I use it personally in my own consulting business to find problems in interpersonal relationships and then find solutions for those problems. We study the brain and we look at how people learn, how they're influenced and persuaded, manipulated, coerced, indoctrinated, and even brainwashed. And unlike others, I don't just show you how this works. We talk about ways these tricks are being used in your life and how you can protect yourself and your loved ones. In this day and age, I think this is extremely helpful. Now, this has always been useful information, helpful information. I've started my career on teaching about how the manipulation tactics, the specific tactics are used to lure someone in and trap them in an abusive relationship. And I still do that work. But COVID and the COVID response showed everyone how manipulation can be used, how persuasion and brainwashing and coercion can be used to force you to behave a certain way, to basically imprison you and make you think it's a good idea to do so. Because they didn't just, during COVID, they didn't just force us into lockdown. They convinced a significant proportion of the population that not only was this method helpful, but that they should top it up with an untested vaccine that is still causing enormous problems for a significant proportion of the people who've taken it. Be smarter. Let's look at what they do so you can protect yourself. Now, speaking of being smarter, be smart enough to get your own copy of the Pfizer papers. This book is brilliant and it's easy to find. You just go on Amazon. Get your own copy. They spent years deciphering the gobbledygook and analyzing the studies that Pfizer went to court to try to keep hidden for 75 years. The court said no. So then they started to decide to flood everyone with all the information they could have, thinking nobody's actually going to take the time to go through this. Well, they were wrong. Uh, Dr. Naomi Wolf, Amy Kelly, and a whole team of brilliant people went through these papers, deciphered it, and put it together in a book so that anyone can recognize and realize what they did with these vaccines and COVID treatments and all the things that happened during the COVID period. Now realize so far when I'm telling you this, it's 2025 and no one as yet has gone to jail for what they did. Hopefully that will change in the future. But what that means is you need to protect yourself, because if they did it once and got away with it, they can certainly do it again. Pfizer papers. And also, please know, Daily Cloud is why I am able to bring this crucial information to the public. We need your support. So buying a copy of the Pfizer papers is one way of providing real support. Now, last week, these last few weeks have been excruciating, reassuring and excruciating. Excruciating with the loss of Charlie Kirk when he was murdered, reassuring to see how everyone gathered around him. If you watched the memorial service, oh my gosh, I'm glad I didn't have to do a show that day. My nose was red, my eyes were red and puffy. Oh my goodness, I just kept crying. But at the same time, I was so reassured by the faith and the love of the people then. It was beautiful. So a lot of us have said, okay, what do we do from here? Well, I already feel like what I'm doing is on a trajectory that Charlie would have approved of. I am bringing real knowledge to the public, showing you how those in power attempt to manipulate us and control us and coerce us, and nothing they're doing is actually helpful. It's destructive. They just wrap it in a nice package and make us feel like we're good people for not questioning what they do. Charlie questioned everything. He was brilliant. I was looking forward to meeting him. That won't happen until after I leave, as you know what I mean by that. He was wonderful. So where do we go from here? Well, here's something I wanted to say. This show, and when you're asking yourself, where do we go from here? I want you all to write this down or make a note of it mentally. People often ask me, if you could boil down all of what you do and just give people a snippet of what they need to understand what's going on in society with the manipulation and social control and the propaganda and how to keep themselves safe, what would you tell them? I would show them episode 33. I went back and looked it over. This episode, if you are linked to a university, I need to teach this as a class. And in fact, with my own, if no university contacts me, or even if they do, I'm going to start teaching classes online anyway. This needs to be a class. I put so much effort and research into putting this information and making it really accessible for you to see not only what they're trying to do to you, what they're trying to do to us, but how we can win. And what Charlie did was win arguments against the woke. He used facts and knowledge and he shielded himself. And I show you how to do this in this episode. That episode and the topic of today's episode are two episodes with so much key information, I constantly refer back to them. So if you get a chance, go on Rumble, go on Daily Cloud, go on YouTube, look up episode 33 of Heart and Mind, How to Win Against the Woke. Please get this information in your head. And then today's topic, this is the second episode I keep referring back to. If you watch all of my episodes, you see that I keep telling people go to episode 11, where I originally talked about the circles of intimacy. Well, recently, one of my regular viewers asked me if I could revisit the topic. Guess what? You can do the same thing. Make a comment under wherever you're watching this program, and I will see it, or I will give you contact information at the end of the episode. If there's something you want to know, if there's something you want to see, even if it's something I've done before, there's always more information than I can put in just an hour. So please contact me. I'm happy to help. So today we're looking at something, circles of intimacy revisited. So stay with us. Ever wonder why your brain feels foggy even when you're eating clean and exercising? It may not be burnout, it could be parasites. Groundbreaking research from Dr. Alan McDonald revealed a direct link between chronic parasitic infections and neurological diseases like multiple sclerosis. Parasites can cause inflammation, nerve damage, and long-term cognitive decline. More reason to do a full body cleanse at least once a year. The wellness company has a solution for you. Ivermectin plus menbendazole, the gold standard parasite solution, now combined in one cleanse combo. Designed to eliminate harmful invaders and support your immune system naturally. Medical grade, not some trendy herbal gimmicks. Just fill out a quick intake form and get a 3-month supply shipped straight to your door. Maha is officially here, and the wellness company is making hard-to-get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best life. Head to dailyclout.health and use the code DailyClout to save $60 off plus free shipping on all orders. Cleanse your body today. As I mentioned, people contact me. Now, this episode today, Circles of Intimacy, I was actually contacted on the third option, comments on heart and mind. Roscoe, one of my favorite audience members who attends quite often, sent me a message during the show and asked if I could do this. You can also, the easiest way to contact me, go to my page on X. It's just at Dr. Dina 1, really easy. Or go to my Facebook page, Dina McMillan, PhD. You can leave me messages there if there's a topic, if there's something you have a question, if there's something you want to know, or wherever you're watching it live. I'm looking at the numbers. I see a lot of you are watching this live. Sign in wherever you're watching it, and you can actually leave questions and comments that I can see while we're doing the episode. So people always, and sometimes I get the topics from conversation, especially from my friend Melinda Richards, who's not here today, but she's often on the show because we have such great conversations about these topics. And she's certainly given me more than one topic to cover in this program. Now, again, if what happened to Charlie Kirk motivated you, in addition to feeling grief, if it motivated you to say, I need to change and improve, even if it's only yourself, you don't necessarily have to want to go out and change the world. Some of us want to change society and we want to change the world. But even if it's just you need to know how to do that. And one of the things that is crucial for you to identify is where you have genuine support. A lot of us look at our relationships, and as long as the person doesn't leave, we're like, oh yeah, that's a relationship. We saw when I put something up about honoring Charlie Kirk on my Facebook page, on my first personal Facebook page, that one of my siblings, one of my very woke siblings, wasn't satisfied with just disagreeing with me. She went on and just started calling Charlie Kirk all kinds of names. And then when others who are old friends from when I was in high school said, "Oh, I want to watch the show." She tried to convince them not to watch the show. That kind of vindictiveness, what if I had been relying on her? That kind of vindictiveness you need to know about. It doesn't mean I don't love her. I'm not even surprised by it. When you're dealing with people who have been indoctrinated by the left, they are not, their irrationality is encouraged. But I won't lie, it was very hurtful. You need to know where you have support, where you have people who will not let you down. Erica Kirk impressed us. Oh my goodness. And one of the classes I'm going to be teaching is for young women on how to attract and keep a really amazing man. Of course, that means you have to be a pretty amazing woman. You know that, right? But a lot of women, nothing they're seeing in mainstream culture is teaching them how to do that. So I'm going to actually teach them how to do that. And she just made my life easier. I already followed her on Instagram because I felt she was a wonderful role model in how she portrayed. She's feminine, strong, and not masculine at all. Respectful to her husband, respectful to her marriage. This is what I teach. We all need to know who really has our back in real life. Weak support, imbalanced support, imbalanced relationships can undermine you at crucial times, like I mentioned last week. What if I had been counting on that sin? To undermine me like that when talking about my show, which is part of my professional life, was unacceptable and cruel. What if I'd been counting on her? I was hurt, but not surprised. I don't want you to be surprised either. And I want you to know what to do about it. Imbalanced relationships in your life. What we're going to be looking at today, I have additional information that I can teach if I do a Circles of Intimacy course that identifies toxic people in your life and toxic strands. That person, you don't necessarily want to label somebody toxic, but if your relationship with them is not healthy, I also help people identify those so that you know to protect yourself. And you don't just keep crossing your fingers that everything works out okay. Imbalanced relationships are incredibly uncomfortable. And we're going to look at what you can do about that. It's sad, but the American healthcare system is broken. Big Pharma charges an arm and a leg for their products, while insurance companies are focused on growing healthcare spending. So I'm always researching ways to take care of myself naturally. And one of the most overlooked factors is improving your blood flow. That means more oxygen and nutrients to your brain, heart, muscles, and even places that need a little extra help as we age. I use Blood Flow 7 from Juvenon. It works by boosting nitric oxide levels 230% and opening arteries up to 62% to improve blood flow. With just one dose a day, just 2 capsules with or without food, and it's helped improve my stamina, energy, focus, and supports my heart health, all without caffeine or stimulants. It's doctor formulated, scientifically backed, with premium and natural ingredients. Look, I wouldn't share it if it didn't work for me. Go to www.bloodflow7.com/Daily Clout, or just click the link in the description below this video to learn more today. So we're talking about imbalanced relationships. If you want, please send me a note. Do you want me to do a show specifically on identifying toxic relationships and knowing what to do about them? I mentioned that I'll be teaching that in my course, but do you want me to present it here on Heart and Mind? All you have to do is ask. I'm here to help you. Football Podcast says imaginary league sent me a note saying, great podcast. Oh, well, thank you. Um, I hope you get something great out of this information. So, what happens? Anybody been in this situation? I've been in this situation a lot. And in fact, it was this situation that originally caused me to spend months putting the information together about the circles of intimacy. It was my own life that caused me to research this information. When you're in a relationship where you care more than the other person, you prioritize them more than they prioritize you, how do you feel? You feel sad. You feel taken for granted. You feel used. Oh, it's a terrible feeling. What happens if the other person cares more? You may feel annoyed. You may feel pressured. You may feel guilty. Now, at the end, we're going to talk about the fact that there is some responsibility that comes with being in a relationship with someone where it's obvious that they care more. The integrity that I have constantly woven through these episodes would not allow you to exploit or take advantage of someone because you know they care about you more than you care about them. So keep that in mind. But in the meantime, when you're dealing with them, it feels uncomfortable. If you're a good person, it feels uncomfortable. If you're not somebody that thinks people are there to be used, if you're not some sort of sociopath or psychopath, you feel pressured because they're constantly trying to get you to be beholden to them. They're trying to get you to care more than you do. And if they give you help at a necessary time and you know it's because they care so much, you'll often feel guilty. Now, with imbalanced relationships, we're talking pretty severely imbalanced relationships, things get tough. Rejection is likely. You'll either reject the person who cares more than you do, or you'll get rejected by the person for whom you care more than they care for you. It's either way, it's precarious. It's like being on a high rise. So even though this is something most of us walk around in our lives and don't think about, until I had this situation in my own life, I never even considered taking my knowledge base and using it this way. Once I did, I was like, why didn't I think of this before? Because balancing your relationships is the simplest way to reduce anxiety and unhappiness in your emotional life. Full stop. Isn't that a great thing to know? And it's not even that hard. You know, if you've ever watched the show before, I don't just talk about problems. I constantly find ways to find the simplest solution, simplest keys to fix things. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. What if I told you one of the most studied supplements in the world, creatine, isn't just for bodybuilders or men at the gym? That's one of the biggest myths out there. The truth is, creatine is incredibly beneficial for women, and you don't even have to exercise to feel the benefits. Here's why. Creatine helps your body produce quick energy. Yes, it supports lean muscle, strength, and recovery if you do work out. But research also shows it boosts brain health, improves memory, reduces mental fatigue, and even supports bone strength. That means better energy for your day, sharper thinking, and stronger aging, whether or not you ever step into the gym. And no, creatine will not make you bulky. That's another myth. What it will do is help you feel stronger, more energized, and more resilient in everyday life. So if you've written off creatine as a guy thing, it's time to rethink it. Your body and your brain may thank you. If you'd like to learn more about how creatine works and why it's such a game changer for women, check out this short article at getnativecreatine.com/dailyclout. That site again is GETNATIVECreatine.com /Daily Now, oh, by the way, for all of you guys watching, if you see a supplement that I mention is for women, if you are married, if you have sisters, if you have a mom, be sure to share the information with them. It doesn't have to be something that you say, oh, that's not for me because I'm not a woman. Well, most men know creatine is very helpful anyway for men, but did you know it was for women? Gosh, the products on this show are really good. Now, one of the things I want to talk about that's really important, one of the reasons I keep referring people to the Circles of Intimacy episode when you won't have to do it anymore, you have a new one. The benefits are you have more options. Most of the time, we think if our relationship isn't working out, we need to eject that person from our lives. It's feast or famine. They're either all in or all out. No, you have more options than that. With the Circles of Intimacy, it shows you the different levels of a relationship. And sometimes the challenge is the person just needs to be at a different level. Now, adjustments don't have to be permanent. Perhaps when you move them to a different level, because this is, of course, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's something I suggest for people if they are in an imbalanced relationship to try to get yourself on the same level with that other person. They may not like that, or the two of you may decide this isn't okay for either of us. No adjustment has to be permanent. I tend to resist either or solutions unless there's danger involved. So this is one of the huge benefits of actually paying attention to this. If you have a relationship that's causing you distress, you can figure out what to do about it without actually having to fully reject the person, with the exception, when I said danger involved, I meant abusive relationships. If the person is abusive, you need to keep them as far away from you as possible. Now, the good news is you don't have to depend on them complying. What you do is you start by controlling your own behavior. You won't necessarily be able to control your feelings. When I saw that I was having a very imbalanced relationship with another one of my siblings, yes, I have a lot of them. Okay, I've got 4. I realized I didn't want to just end my relationship with her, but there was so much distance between how I felt and prioritized her and how she felt and prioritized me. It was extremely unhealthy, causing me severe distress. So I started treating her differently. And we're going to talk about how to do that. What is the Circles of Intimacy? All it is simple tests that allow you, and as I mentioned, it took months of research to put this together. I know it looks easy because I just have it written on a screen, but it's simple tests that allow you to assess relationship balance. It's not super deep and meaningful. It's not, I had to keep it simple in order to be able to use it widely, but it does work. It allows you to assess the balance of your relationships. And there's a caveat here. What we're talking about, we're about to talk about all of it. Please keep in mind, I am not talking about parent-child relationships unless they are adults. And even then, there's a natural imbalance to parent-child relationships, and that's as it should be. So we are talking about your relationships with other adults, okay? It can include siblings, but not your kids. So are you getting ready? Think about I want you to do something. Is any relationship in your life right now causing you distress? Put this person in mind. If you have a piece of paper and a pen, get them together. Don't worry. I'm not going to just provide the information during the show. You know better than that if you've ever watched me before. but it can be useful to go along with me and just figure out who's number one that you want to figure out how to fix the relationship or assess what's going on in that relationship. Think about it for a second. If you're like me and you're getting to that age where your body just hurts all the time, then listen up. Don't reach for another painkiller until you learn about this little known turmeric hack for pain and inflammation. You've probably already heard about turmeric being used to fight inflammation and joint pain. But here's the thing, not all turmeric is created equal. Regular turmeric powder from your pantry might help a little, but a leading pain doctor from Connecticut discovered a special turmeric extract that is 200 times more powerful than what you'd find in standard turmeric. And when he shared this turmeric hack with his patients, the results were shocking. This turmeric extract attacks pain at the source, turning it off like a light switch so that pain not only goes away, it stays away. Dr. Josh, the brains behind it all, has spent over 20 years helping hundreds of thousands of Americans finally break free from constant aches and stiffness. And his turmeric hack has been the backbone of their success. Say goodbye to expensive surgeries, pain injections, or ineffective over-the-counter medications, and say hello to pain-free living. This is incredible stuff. Once I started taking it on a regular basis, I really noticed a difference. But again, you can't just use any old turmeric. So if you want to learn more about Dr. Josh, his turmeric hack, and the exact method for how to use it in your daily routine, just go to goldenrevive.com/dailyclout. The link is right below this video in the description. Just click it and start your journey towards a pain-free, healthier life. Okay, everybody, you getting ready? Now, in case you didn't know, in case this isn't something you use, if you have a normal keyboard, right above the backspace on the right, there's a little button called Print Screen. So if you think I'm going too quickly, because I do have a time constraint here, you can always just print the screen and come back to it. Now, what is the circles of intimacy? What it is 2 tests. Each test is made up of 4 sets of quick questions with yes or no answers. So it's like, does this? Yes, no, yes, no. Just really quick. It doesn't take long at all. But it's 2 separate tests, quick yes and no. And I want you to be honest. Be honest with yourself. And one of the ways to get to that honesty is to go quickly. Don't allow yourself to reflect on the answers too much, because then you might start rationalizing or feeling bad or adding or subtracting things that belong there. Go fast. And I asked you to think about one relationship that you feel is imbalanced and causing you distress. I would suggest you go back and assess all of your relationships. Having a clear idea of which relationships are strong and which relationships needs work, invaluable tool, especially if you are motivating yourself to be courageous and do more than you have in the past. Then tally up your answers. Once you add up your answers, and it's really, really quick and easy, you plot them and you see where your relationship falls on the circles. Your aim, balanced relationships. That is indicated by being in the same circle. So what do I mean by that? Test 1 asks you a bunch of questions, 40 questions. Really, as I said, they're really quick. How do I really feel about the person I'm considering? And Don't think about it too much. I'm just going to ask you specifics. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. And I want you to make a little mark anytime the answer is yes. And each section has different points. So you need to make a little note about that so you don't just give them all 1 point. Some of them are worth more than that. Then test 2. How do they feel about me? And it's based on their actions, not their words. It is over the, I'd say, the last 25 years, it has become very normal for people to constantly tell each other that they love each other. Every conversation, I love you, I love you. Just because someone says it doesn't mean they feel it. Sometimes they say it instead of feeling it. This will talk about actions. This is where you find out how people really feel. So somebody who's never even declared their devotion could be a more solid relationship for you than somebody that tells you they love you all the time. So calm down, embrace yourself, prepare to look within and without. No judgment, just do it. Now, when we plot it on the circles of intimacy, you'll notice there's a star in the middle. That indicates you. Around the star is a red circle. Red is the closest, most intimate others. Surrounding that, dark blue, it's concentric circles like a bullseye. Family and friends who are like family, just close people. Orange, extended family and friends. Purple, people you like and people you socialize with because you work with them, that kind of person. Pale blue is acquaintances, people you get together when they're there, but if you don't see them, you don't notice that much. If they moved away, it might take you a little while to notice. White is strangers, but not just any strangers. If you're like me, you live in a neighborhood where I often will see the same people walking past or sitting next to me at a local restaurant or behind me at the grocery store. That's the white category. Those people still have an impact on you, by the way. I'm a social psychologist, I'm telling you, they do, but not like the other circles. Now, what I'm going to also do, please know, I said I would not leave you hanging. On my website at ethicalstrategic.com, as of this weekend, I am actually going to post the test as a blog. If you look at the tab up top, my website is fairly new. Goodness knows I'm still working on it. I have a page I have to fix today. It's still being worked on, but there's a blog section. There's a tab that says blog. And I'm going to include the circles of intimacy test that we're talking about today as a blog. So if you don't want to screenshot it, and if you don't have time, if you're somewhere where you can't actually take the test now, don't worry about it. You can either rewatch this episode and do it that way where you can stop. Every time you need to, you can just push pause as you go through in the recorded version. And or you can go on my website, ethicalstrategic.com, this weekend. So as of September 28th, so if you're watching the recorded version and it's after September 28th, it will be up there. So you can actually find the test there. When I described the test, this is what I meant. These are the circles of intimacy. See the gold and the red and the blue and the orange and the purple and the pale blue and the white. That's what you're looking at. So let's start. You ready? Test 1, how you feel. So the test 1 is all about how you feel. So the next set of questions are all about how you feel about the person that popped into your brain when I said, consider a relationship that is causing you distress. So this first section, the next 10 questions are all worth 5 points each. These are really important. Number 1, you'd freely make life changes. You'd move somewhere else, change your job to meet their needs or maintain the relationship. Yes or no? 2, you trust them with your deepest secrets. 3, you're committed to this relationship for life. 4, you don't hesitate to make sacrifices, including time, money, effort, other resources. 5, you miss them when you're separated, even for a day. This next set, still worth 5 points. And as I said, we need you to go fast. Just put a mark if it's relevant, if it's yes or no. Just put the number and then put a little mark. And the mark will indicate that the answer is yes. 6, they know you very well, including your strengths and weaknesses and little details about you. 7, if anything happened to them, you feel you'd never be the same. 8, your vacation and holiday plans include them. 9, when a new person becomes important to you, you introduce them. 10, you sometimes place their needs before your own. Now, this next section on test 1, we're still on test 1, how you feel about them, is 3 points. So the next 10 questions are 3 points each. Okay? 11, you think about them often, even if you don't see them. Number 12, if you see something you think they'd like, you buy it or make a note to get it soon. 13, you don't mind doing things for them, even if it's inconvenient. 14, you want them to contact you if they're ever in need or in trouble. And of course, you'll help. 15, you'll risk their anger to tell them what you believe they need to hear. Okay, we continue on. These are still worth 3 points each. 16, you know their faults and weaknesses and you still care. 17, you make a genuine effort to contact them often. 18, you put real time and energy into getting something special for them, for their holidays, for their birthday. 19, after you speak or spend time with them, you feel happy, you feel good. 20, they're one of your first contacts when something bad happens to you. Now we're moving on to section 3. It's worth 2 points each. Question, and it's still about how you feel about the other person. 21, they're one of your first contacts when something good happens to you. So that's worth 2 points. Notice that I did that on purpose. It's worth less than telling somebody when something bad happens to you. 22, when you spend time together, you feel relaxed. 23, you share most of the same fundamental values. 24, you believe this person is a positive influence in your life. 25, you feel comfortable asking this person for general advice. Still on test 1, section 3, 2 points each. 26, if you've done something wrong, you'd be embarrassed if they found out. 27, you feel both accepted and appreciated. 28, you often laugh together about everyday things. 29, you can just be together, not doing anything special, and you enjoy their company. 30, you can talk about serious subjects. Now we're going to section 4, the last section of the first test, how you feel about the other person. So the next 10 questions are only worth 1 point each, okay? 31, most of your interactions are pleasant. 32, you've known each other for at least a year and still enjoy their company. 33, you frequently socialize together. 34, you've met their partner and they've met yours. 35, you're able to talk easily about mutual interests. Last section for test 1, for section 4, 1 point each. 36, you share very similar political or philosophical values. 37, you share similar life goals or ambitions. 38, you share the same beliefs about how others should be treated. 39, you share complaints about everyday things. And the last one, question 40, you know background details about this person, their job, education, where they live, etc. Okay, add up the totals in test 1, and here's how you plot it. If you got 70 or more points after adding up your subtotals, then that person goes into the red circle. 46 to 69 points, they go into the blue. 30 to 45, they go into orange. 16 to 29 points, they go into purple. Pale blue is 9 to 15 points, and 0 to 8 points, they go in the white circle, the furthest circle out. So, this person that you were thinking about, which circle are they on? Is it what you expected? Okay. Now we're going to how this person, same person, because you have to do it both ways, how do they feel about you based upon their actions, which, as I keep mentioning, is the most reliable way to know how somebody really feels. Okay, section 1. Again, the section 1s are worth 5 points each. How do they feel? Number 1, they've made big life changes to meet your needs or maintain the relationship. So we're talking about changing jobs or moving, etc. 2, they consult you before making big decisions. 3, they notice if you need help and assist before you ask. 4, they regularly make sacrifices for you, including time, money, effort, resources. 5, they contact you if you're separated, even for a short while. This is another set of section 1, so these are still worth 5 points each. 6, they share information about themselves, even if it's embarrassing. 7, excuse me, if anything happened to you, they've said they'd never be the same. 8, their vacation holiday plans always include you. 9, if you need something important, they'll put a lot of effort into helping you get it. 10, they sometimes place your needs before their own. So, test 2 of how they feel about you. Section 2 is 3 points each. So the next 10 questions are worth 3 points each. Number 11, they notice if you're anxious or upset and try to cheer you up. 12, they defend you if anyone criticizes you, but at the same time, they won't hesitate to tell you something challenging privately if you need to hear it. 13, they'll help you in a crisis without thought or hesitation. 14, they ask how you are and really listen to your answers. 15, they make a big deal of your birthday and major holidays. Well, we're still in section 2, which is worth 3 points each. 16, if they do something that bothers you and you say something about it, they'll put real effort into not repeating it. 17, they contact you often, but not too much. Once a day if you live together, or more than once a week if you don't. 18, they prioritize spending time with you over time with other people. 19, they spend a lot of time talking to you about what they want for their future. 20, they're honest and open with you about what's happening in their life. How you doing so far? Yeah? Because this is going to be a little confronting to ask yourself. Now we're on to section 3, which is worth 2 points each. Number 21, you're one of the first people they contact when something good happens. 22, they say they genuinely enjoy your company. 23, you have a similar sense of humor and sense of outrage. 24, they seek you out when they want to try new, fun things. 25, they seek your advice and often follow your suggestions. We're still in section 3, where it's worth 2 points each. Number 26, they know and remember your food and drink preferences and other little details about you. 27, when you go out in a group, they sit close or make sure to interact with you frequently. Is that the case for you? Are you thinking about it? Okay, 28, they introduce you to people they admire and respect. 29, they invite you to their work functions. 30, You've been to their home. Okay, now we're into section 4, the last section of the test 2 of how the other person feels about you. And again, don't reflect too much. Put down whatever your first answer is. Even if you think, oh, wait a minute, 2 years ago they no, just put down how you feel right now. 31, when they have a party or other social event, you're always invited. 32, when you meet their other friends, they've been told about you. 33, you share similar political beliefs and support similar causes. 34, this person always seems glad to see you. 35, they don't only contact you when they want something. 36, when the two of you have plans, they rarely cancel at the last minute. 37, they sometimes say, I thought about you when I saw or heard this. 38, if you invite them to something, they'll make an effort to come along. 39, they'll be one of your sponsors when you do charitable fundraising or other events. 40, if you find a new cause or income source, they'll look at what you're selling. Okay, so there we are. Add up the subtotals in test 2. Remember, category red, the closest circle around you. Ooh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead of myself. 70 or more points. If it's blue, 46 to 69 points. Orange, 30 to 45 points. Purple, 16 to 29 points. Pale blue, 9 to 15 points. And white is 0 to 8 points. Now, when you're going through this, you may have some questions about why did I give some of these things so few points compared to other things? Believe me, I spent a lot of time on this. And it's because one of my jobs is, again, assessing people and teaching people how to spot manipulation, spot someone who's trying to get you to like them. So some of the moves that I only gave 1 point, it's not that they're not important. It's that sometimes people will pretend to share your beliefs or share your political affiliations if they want you to like them, but it's not actually true. So I couldn't give them too many points because we can say a lot of things. Most of the points went to things where they're actually demonstrating emotionally and practically and even financially how important you are to them. So look at the circles again. Where does that second test go? Where does this person have you? And as I mentioned the first time in episode 11, when I first talked about this, the sibling I developed this test for, I had her in probably the blue bordering on the red circle. As one of my siblings, she wasn't my spouse or my child, but that red circle for me was tiny. The blue circle a bit bigger, and she was in that blue circle. After doing the test, I did the test based on what I knew as a social psychologist, not just based on this person. But when I did the test, I realized that she had me in the pale blue circle. I had her in the dark blue circle. That's a big difference. There are layers between us. When I was like, oh, that's why I'm so unhappy, because I am not a priority for her at all. Now, this is one of the siblings. Basically all of my siblings have stopped talking to me since Trump won the election. For those of you, by the way, who were inspired by Charlie Kirk's sacrifice and the devotion of the people who cared about him and want to continue his mission, I will tell you now, you have to be very self-reliant and you have to be willing to build your own circles, because some of the circles that you thought you could depend on, you cannot. My sisters That sister, the one I said had me as an acquaintance, she rejected me back in 2012 because I don't have woke values. And my dad passed away, and she just used it as an excuse to not have me in her life. I wasn't surprised, because the left tells people you either accept everything we believe or we have to reject you. My friend that I told you is a lefty in Washington State, whom I adore, is so brave. She's actually openly friends with me, and I realize I don't get hassled by you guys for being friends with her, but she would go through a lot for being friends with me. They treat us like poison. And so this other sister, the one that tried to get everybody not to watch last episode honoring Charlie Kirk, she and my other sister are the two most woke sisters I've got. And yes, I've tried everything and I still love them. And if I am not going to not love them, they're my sisters, but I have to, in practical ways, put them in the blue circle because that's where they have me. The greater the distance you have between the circle you put them in and they put you in, the more severe the discomfort, whether it's they have you in a closer circle or you have them in a closer circle. Do whatever you can to gain or regain balance. Treat the other person as you're treated. And there is the big caveat again. I do not condone using people, manipulating people, taking advantage of people, exploiting people. It is easy to do that if somebody cares a lot for you and they're just somebody, they're an also ran in your life. But if you're going to be a person of integrity, if you're, and especially if you're a person of faith, who you are to everyone counts. You don't get, one of the things about being a Christian, you don't get a secret corner. You don't get to compartmentalize. You don't get to say, I would argue, even if you're Jewish, because if you look at the 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments say, thou shalt not. They don't say thou shalt not as long as you're female, but men can do it because boys will be boys. They don't say thou shalt not, but it's okay as long as nobody sees you. Being a person of faith has strict rules on behavior 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And being a person of integrity. So if you're secular, if you're going to be a person of integrity, you've got the same rules. So any questions or comments, there are so many ways to contact me. Now, I want to also tell you again, if you know someone or have someone that does any kind of educational program or training, please get in touch at ethicalstrategic.com. I take regular training and turn it into something that gets people fired up, inspired, and it's designed specifically the way the brain processes information, so they'll actually remember it long enough to use it even during heightened circumstances. We've talked before about the fact that logic goes out the window when you're emotional, or when your primal drives come into play. That's lust, hunger, even hunger, anger, frustration, a desire to belong to a group. That can make logic and ration fly out the window. My training is designed to stick in the places in the brain so they have access to it even during heightened circumstances. So please contact me. And also, I'm going to be doing the new online classes. I hope you will all sign up for them. So a lot of the most interesting topics and even more topics. You want a topic? Contact me. We'll have some big ones. We'll have some small ones, and all budget friendly. So if you want to get in contact with me about any aspect of this, you have questions, problems, something you think I forgot, easiest way to contact me, go to X. Go to my web page on X, my profile page on X, at Dr. Dina 1. Send me a question, send me a comment, and let me know how I can help you. And I thank you all for being here today. And as I promised, no more boring Tuesdays. So hopefully, I will see you again next week. Bye bye now.